Hi, Nikki. Thank you so much for joining me today and for being part of the Holistic Business Summit. I know everyone's really keen to hear what you're going to be talking about and also about you. So, can you just start by telling us a bit about who you are and what you do in the world?
Well, yeah, thank you, Gemma. And I am really excited to be speaking at the Holistic Business Summit because, yes, my background is all about business, but also all about holistic. And, I know that the people that are coming are, they're trainers, they're coaches, they're alternative practitioners, therapists, people in what we always call the helping professions. And of course, that is my background. So I started off as a MD and a human resources director in a large PLC, and I kind of stumbled by accident across personal development and sort of business development, spiritual development, and came across Tony Robbins, of course, good old Tony, and worked with him very much in the early days while I was still in employment, taking care of the development of 3,000 staff within a public company. And of course, interestingly then, very quickly came across Brandon Bays, who I'm excited to be meeting again after all these years at the event in September. So, I was in a corporate role, and then I suddenly realized, that the time that I was with people one-on-one and really assisting them with the challenges in their life, whether that was, something as superficial as like they're not doing well in their job, or something as deeply rooted as some significant emotional events that need healing, or really need to be worked on so that they have a better experience in life. And I just suddenly realized that that was what I was here for, and that I really did want to assist people very much more than I could do, work in organizations. So long story short, left large organizations and actually went on a journey of exploration into personal development and business development and spiritual development, and came across people like Tony and like Brandon. And actually Brandon had a huge effect on me in the way that I studied with her, became one of her first trainers, and really understood that it really is the deep part of us that knows that we want to have a different experience than we're having. And it's that deep part of us that will make those unconscious decisions to overcome things that maybe have held us back for decades and decades and decades. And so I was massively thirsty to learn as much about coaching and therapeutic, and I'm a hypnotherapist. I was on this journey to learn as much as I could. And so when I left corporate life, I became an exec coach actually for a couple of years, and worked as a therapist, working with people with their significant issues, health, relationships, lots of deep issues that they were challenged with. And then I met my amazing husband, Tony Vee, and together we started completely by accident to work with people on their intimate relationship life. And I found that all the coaching that I'd learned with Tony Robbins and all the, hypnotherapy, therapeutic work that I'd learned with Brandon, all of a sudden started becoming, really taking shape. And I started developing my own systems, models, strategies, style of assisting people. So, the last 14 years I've worked with Tony, my Tony, as intimate relationship. We work with couples, we go and live with couples to assist them with their challenges, both with their relationship, but also with their kids and, with their health, with whatever is challenging them. And after a few years, Tony and I had a great retreat center in Austria. And after a few years, people kept saying to us, can you teach us how to use these coaching questions and how to use these intervention skills that you have? And we went, yeah. And one guy, I never forget this, one guy said, I really like the way that you assist people. It's like conversational. And so we have a whole, then we began with our Coach the Coach program, but now we assist, as I say, alternative therapists, trainers, coaches, every full breadth of this wonderful profession, as I call it. We started off with Coach the Coaches, and then we created what we call the V coaching strategy, which of course our name is V, but actually this is a reflection of how, rather than have a superficial conversation with a person that you're working with, that you have a conversation that gets deep to the root and the core of the issue. And then we started doing events and sharing the coaching programs and the coaching strategies. And then we went and lived in Glastonbury for 2 years. So there was a fantastic and interesting part of our life. Tony does a lot of alternative therapies, and as he calls it, the sort of esoteric stuff. And when we were there, what was really interesting is I came across so many people with so many great gifts. That everything you can think of in Glastonbury, as you can imagine, everything from Reiki and as I say, hypnotherapy, right through to the very, very unusual processes that people do. And the big issue they had was, how could they, let people know about these great therapies and the great things that they were doing? How could they let them know? And even more importantly, how could they get paid for this so that they could do this professionally rather than need to do it part-time and, charge a very small amount and therefore not have the lifestyle they wanted? So we kind of put the two things together and said, look, let's teach them coaching skills. Let's teach them great questions that can either be standalone and, really, really assist people to coach someone to get a new realization so that they make new decisions and they follow through and they have a new experience of life. But also, let's put something together that assists people in the holistic and the esoteric part of this business, so that before somebody has they have an intervention with somebody, whether they have a hands-on experience with them or whether they're doing, some wonderful, as Tony does, some wonderful healing process, that the conscious mind gets what the outcome could be. And so we use coaching questions as well as, therapeutic type questions in order to have the person prepared to receive any kind of process or interaction that we might be sharing. So it's kind of can be standalone, or it can be as part of that process. And we have this great place in Glastonbury. When I say great place, it was just beautiful. And we started to recognize that when people come to you off the street, we need to ask them some questions, really great questions, so that we get very, very quickly to what's really needed here, so that we can assist them to have a better experience. And then, so we took them sort of into our first stage in our healing center, and then we took them into the next room where we started to open them up to some perhaps more out there philosophies about how they could participate. I know this is one of Brandon's sayings, participate in their own healing. And, one of my, just to sort of go off at a tangent a bit, I still continued over this time to do some exec coaching in the city. And, a lot of my clients now are coaches who go into large organizations, or therapists who, work with people privately with their, whatever issue it is that they need help with. And I always go, it doesn't make any difference. These are people that we are working with. And I believe that the coaching that I'm going to be sharing at your great event is that, what are these questions that could cause someone to participate in the process rather than feel like they're passive to what we're doing with them? What are these questions? What is this conversational questioning strategy that that Nicki Vee is going to talk about? And what are they? And that's what I'm going to be sharing. And how can you use them, not just so that people get a really great experience when they are having time with you, but that you can use those questions if you were running a workshop, so that you might ask something rhetorically, say you think about it and then ask a question so that the person goes inside and has a new realization. But not only that, and this is where, our company is called Master Coach. And, we say, look, this is a 4-step process. And I'm going to share that too. It's like getting you in the right place. How are you going to show up so that when you have that first interaction with someone, either on email or on video like we are now, or, in face-to-face, how are you going to share? What are you going to ask them? How are you going to interact with them so that they say, great, I'd really like to know more about what you do. Mm-hmm. And then what are you going to ask them when they say, I'd like to know more about what you do? What are you going to ask them then so that they go from interested to becoming a paying client? And that's why a shortened version of what I'm going to be talking about is getting clients and getting paid. And, I work with, hundreds, maybe thousands of people now in this lovely, wonderful profession. And, I think I'm so saddened by the statistics of people that really want to put their energy and their time and their, to really assist people. But then they find out that they have to go and get a job, or they can't make it pay because they can't transfer someone from interested into a paying client at a rate of a charge that is the right charge. And so I was kind of, I'm kind of saddened by the statistics that so many people fail to make a great, lovely living out of being in these helping professions. So, sorry, it's a very, very long answer to your question, Joanne. Yeah. but that is what I want to share in the time that you, I so applaud you for, for running this event. To really put, some people together, audience and speakers who have all the same purpose, which is to, assist the world. My husband, Tony Vee, always says, do you think the world needs some help at the moment? There's some not such great things going on, and there's a lot of healing that needs to take place. A lot of, new experiences that people want. That some people are very unhappy in their situation at the moment. And whether that's their physical health, or whether that's their relationships, or whether that's their finances, or whether that's their business, or whatever that is, I just want to do whatever I can in the time that I have as a speaker with you to share as much as I can so that people have, really get their message out there, find, and available to people so that people can buy from them rather than then having to sell to somebody, which none of us want to do. And so it's all about how can we introduce ourselves to people, ask them great questions. This is my definition, by the way, of coaching, that we ask them powerful questions that cause them to go inside and have a new realization so that then they make new decisions that they follow through with. And as I say, I've been 22 years now since I first came across personal development. And, I really do believe that one of the biggest challenges that people don't have the ability to follow through. They might have an interaction with somebody like us, a coach, a trainer, an alternative practitioner, a therapist, but actually it doesn't have a lasting effect. And so what I want to do is share as much as I can with you so that you have your clients and your customers have a lasting change, and therefore you are doing what you're on the planet for.
Perfect.
So
wow.
I'm hoping that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. I'm sure that everyone will have got a really good idea about what you're going to be talking about. So thank you so much, Nicki. Absolutely wonderful to hear from you. And thank you so much for sharing what you'll be talking about.
And thank you. And if and I'm looking forward to seeing you, the people that are booking in, and get booking in now, because it's going to be an incredible event full of people like us who are just wanting to, have a massive impact on the world. So I'm looking forward to meeting you.